Kristen Fowler. I'm the Executive Director of the Asphalt Pavement Association of Indiana, which is APAI. I want to welcome you to the 2025 kickoff to the construction season, our regional meetings. As was mentioned earlier, this is our third day in a row of doing these, and we just appreciate having nearly 500 of you total between the three meetings coming out to hear about the updates for what's ahead. So if you're not familiar with APAI, APAI represents the paving industry, the asphalt paving industry around the state. We have about 20 producer members. That's members with asphalt plants that make asphalt, and then another 80 or so support companies. That's binder suppliers, aggregate crushers, companies that manufacture equipment, and all in all, it leads to about 1,000 plus people that are involved in our association, either through attending events, being on committees, and other aspects. We are a staff of 3 people, so myself and then Elizabeth Paszczewska, who will speak in a second, is our technical director. She's who you're going to want to reach out to for asphalt technical questions. So anything related to specifications, coming and doing trainings for you as companies or for your customers, she can come provide lunch and do that. And then Jamie Hunkler, who is our director of member services. She's going to be everything, event planning, communication, and then she also leads the workforce development initiatives of APAI. I wanted to take a second and highlight from our winter conference and expo, which was in December, the award-winning projects. And I especially wanted this slide in here for this group because you guys should be really proud. I believe 4 of the 6 award-winning projects came from the Fort Wayne and LaPorte districts. And that included both of the INDOT projects. So we completely revamped the awards program this year, and we added 2 INDOT categories. So one category for greater than 10,000 tons, one category for less than 10,000 tons, and then these other categories that you can see, more than 35 projects were submitted total, and these were our 6 winning categories. And then special recognition goes to the INDOT less than 10,000 tons category, where Brooks Construction won our first ever Golden Lute Award. So congratulations to all of you involved in these projects. Yeah. This is our Safe Worker Award program that we have. This recognizes individuals within your companies who lead and demonstrate safety, whether that be at a plant or on a job site. So if your name's up here, if you've been a previous recipient in past years, congratulations to you all as well. I know Calvin touched on the legislative efforts of what our associations do, but it's a big important part that's often not talked about, when we come to technical meetings like this, but it's what really creates the opportunity for us to build roads all around the state. And that's the legislative outreach that BIC leads to make sure that we have designated road funding mechanisms. We were all involved with the gas tax increase that took place in around the 2016 timeframe. And as we've seen inflation and other factors that have continued to cut into some of the highway funding, BIC right now is leading an initiative to try to identify other methods to fund our roads in the future. So we're excited to see House Bill 1461 get out of the House. It opens up some options for the state to use to search for that funding and to make sure that we have that going forward. And so that's in the Senate now for consideration. But we just always want to make sure that you guys, as you're having conversations with legislators or interacting even with friends and family, make sure they understand the importance of that designated highway funding and what that means to each of us in our jobs. This is a look at the API committees. We have 6 of them, so whether you want to get involved with API in a technical capacity on maybe our materials and construction or design and asset management committees, or some of our other things we focus on, like winter conference and expo planning, women of asphalt, training, workforce development, just reach out to any of us staff members and we will absolutely find a place where you will fit in and enjoy contributing to the association. If you're not receiving our monthly newsletter, please let us know because it's full of information about upcoming events, different resources and guides that API puts together that Elizabeth's going to speak about in a second. We just want to make sure that you don't miss out on any of that information, and the best way to be like front and center of getting it all is to get our newsletter. Here's a look at some of our upcoming events. Here, I think about 2 weeks, we'll be at Purdue Road School. We hope we'll see many of you there. We'll have an expo booth. There's a couple of asphalt presentations, so we're excited for that event. The springtime is when all of our scholarship initiatives begin to kick off. So that's going to include things like our Shooting for Scholarships program, which is in Fortville. So that'll be April 29th, and registration is open for that. I think we got like 15 registrations, team registrations just yesterday. So that event will sign up, or will fill up. So if you haven't signed up already, make sure that you get online and do that. Also, we'll have our teacher training in June, and our golf outing, which is the one event that we do up here. We do it in like just north of Fort Wayne area in Angola. So that'll be June 13th. So watch for information on that. And then lastly, want to mention our winter conference and expo. Go ahead and mark your calendars so that you are at that event. That will be the second week of December in Muncie. So with that, I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Paszczewska, the Director of Technical Affairs for APAI.
Thank you, Kirsten. Real quick, just to what Kirsten mentioned about our newsletter. Excuse me. Last newsletter that we had just sent out a couple weeks ago, we had summarized all of the INDOT upcoming specifications for the 2025 construction season and beyond. So if you received the newsletter and haven't checked that out, please go back and look at it. We did bring some copies here that we'll kind of be passing out like during lunch if you're interested, but it does summarize a lot of what Nathan's going to go through after this and more. Regarding Lunch and Learn, so as you all know, or at least I hope you know by now, that INDOT is going through a very large change with the PG binder specifications. Those changes went into effect September 1st of last year, and we're trying to really get out and discuss these changes with all of our customers, contractor representatives, locals, consulting engineers, municipalities, cities, DPWs, anybody that we can, to talk to them about what these changes mean specifically for their areas. So as Kirsten mentioned, we kind of had been doing what we call the road show, the binder road show, and we've been going around and kind of having lunch and learns or workshops with contractors and their customers, or just consulting engineers, or just city representatives to talk to them about these changes. So if you're interested in it, please get a hold of me. Last year, to give you an idea of what we did reach over 600 people as far as letting them know about all these binder changes. We're continuing this effort, and we're starting off the year with a bang, because we've already reached over 250 people, and we've got 4 scheduled in the next month. So we're super excited about getting out to everybody, meeting everyone, and talking with them about what these changes mean specifically for them and their customers. We partner with INDOT regarding 2 certification courses. As you know, the one certification course is for the asphalt lab technicians. It's the ICAT course. It's held in January every year. This year we had 36 attendees. It was the first year that we actually hosted it at the INDOT Materials and Tests Division facility in Indianapolis. If you haven't been there, it's a fantastic facility, an awesome lab that really, they walk through kind of the life of an HMA sample during this course. So a technician gets to see from start to finish INDOT's process, how the test methods are run in Indiana, and really kind of what they learn and what they should be doing in the labs. So we were really excited to have it hosted there this year with INDOT. We also did the field supervisor course. This graph kind of just shows the growth of the course since 2018. 2020, we went to a 1-day course. And then we also kind of realized, maybe we should make this a true certification course and have an exam and kind of go through a little bit some things in more detail. So we worked with the Asphalt Institute, APAI, and INDOT kind of all work together to come up with a new curriculum for this 1-day certification course required for contractor field personnel on INDOT projects. And it's been a huge success, and it just keeps growing. So it's a great opportunity to get new employees out there, or just employees to get familiar with field operations and just the overall making of asphalt and laying it down in the field. It's a fantastic opportunity for everyone. a couple of local resources that we have on our website. We have a page dedicated for local agency resources. This specifically goes through some documents that can be used during the contract bidding and award process. And then we developed 3 checklists last year, which we're super excited to have launched. These 3 checklists go through reviewing a mixed design per INDOT specifications. So if you're new, or even if you just are curious, INDOT's process and what the specifications require, you can download this checklist. It's a fillable PDF form that you can fill out, and it's got links within that document that automatically take you to some of the resources that are referenced in the document. The field inspection course, or the field inspector checklist, that is designed specifically for brand new personnel that are out there trying to inspect asphalt. When we go out there, a lot of consultants, it may be their first asphalt project, or even INDOT personnel. So we wanted to give them some guidance with the help of NDDPW as well as contractor representatives. We kind of made this checklist to kind of guide them, weather limitations, what should, pre-paving checklists, what should be done during the paving operation, and just some good best practices for patching and so on and so forth. So it's a really great document for somebody that's brand new, that's never been out on an HMA job, to reference and to have some idea what they're looking for out in the field. There's also a plant and lab visit checklist, which is kind of a shortened version of the INDOT audit checklist, which goes through if there is a consultant that is required to go visit a plant or a lab during a major project for a municipality. It kind of gives them an idea what to look at as far as test results, or even just when they go to a plant, what should they be talking to the plant operator about. And then we have a page dedicated to liquid asphalt binder changes. And these changes have a carrying card, which we will also be passing out as well to anyone who's interested, as well as a 1-pager document. These have been critical as far as just a quick snapshot of what these changes are, and to kind of post up in your office or on a clipboard somewhere or in your labs, just so that you have a quick reference guide. Okay, if I was doing a 64-22, what's the new designation for that? Which Nathan's going to kind of go through. So those are available, as well as our training PowerPoint presentation that we've been giving as part of our roadshow, and all of the links that INDOT has provided as far as these liquid binder changes. So all the recurring special provisions, construction memos, design memos, and there's a testing memo as well regarding the mixed designs and the changes. So you can come and see these resources and other information on our website. You can scan this QR code, and that's all we have. So I'll pass it up to Seth Eastep from INDOT to kind of give his little presentation.
Lab manager at INDOT. So I just want to go over a few things from the HMA season last year. I want to first thank everybody for the season we had. I think it all went well. As most of you know, all the material will be coming to our location for testing, and just want to hit a few points here that we noticed last year for some issues we were kind of having. We want to make sure that your cores that you're pulling out there in the field are all marked correctly, and tell us what you want to be tested. So if they're not marked, we're not going to test them. You're going to be getting a call from us, hey, we need to know what we're looking at, especially if it's a full depth core. So just please go ahead and mark those before you send them up to us. Also, make sure that the cores are each placed in their own cylinders. For transport, we've noticed some of those coming in have been damaged because they're stacked on top of each other. So we really want to make sure we're not getting material that's damaged, and then we're going to have to go cut more cores. It's going to take more time to get results, things like that. Also, the same thing with your plate boxes. When you pull your plates, put them in those nice, lovely cardboard boxes. Make sure it's not one that you had marked up ready for another sample and you just scribbled everything out and then started circling or making new numbers. It gets confusing to everybody. So just, if you could, try to make those markings a little more legible for everybody. It helps everybody in the long run for what we're looking for. And that's my short little presentation on things. So I'm going to turn this over to Nathan, and he's going to get you taken care of.
think that was the best presentation so far. All right, so we're a little behind, and I am wired right now on caffeine. So we're going to talk fast. Okay, this is probably an important slide for this meeting. District testing engineers, we had some changes, and for LaPorte and Fort Wayne. So if you didn't know, those are Josh Anderson, Fort Wayne. I think I saw him back there somewhere. And then LaPorte is Scott Herber something. I don't know. Are you in the room? How do you say that? Anybody know? Yeah, there you are. How's that pronounced? Okay, all right, that was close. All right, so that's Scott. Let's see, like Seth said, I think everybody knows all the samples are coming to Indianapolis this season, same as last year. And then another housekeeping note, the HMA sample exchange, for those who want to participate, I was told that email went out this morning, so look for that. And then again, just as mentioned in the other presentations, just a reminder that we have the M&T website. We try to keep a lot of the pertinent information on there, qualified product list, test methods, some more pertinent HMA ones, the 2025 GSB list, which this is actually outdated now because there's another one posted. The PG binder index, things like that. So as far as the rest of the presentation, I really just want to, kind of like normal, go over some of the spec ITM updates, and then audits and DMF entry and Paywizard discussion. And then we'll probably skip over the research projects for the sake of time. Okay, so if you're not used to it by now, well, everybody should be with HMA at least. We have RSPs posted on the website for all the spec changes. And so I just wanted to go over a couple of main ones here. And the first one, like has been said, is the PG binder changes, switching to 5828. I would hope this is not new to anybody in the asphalt world at this point. But just as a review, we're basically switching to 58-28 and to massacre testing, so it's going to look a little different with that S, H, and E. For the most part, it's a swap out of 64 is now 58S, 70 is 58H, and 76 is 58E. But I did want to point out on the 402 table, there's a couple places where it's not actually a one-for-one swap out. We actually bumped it up. So pay attention to that if you haven't noticed that already. And then related to the binder changes, for any contract that was let without those binder changes, so anything basically that was paving last year and is paving this year as well, if you need to add those binder changes into the contract, there is a construction memo out there on how to do that. You can still use the old binder grades, but we're assuming most everybody doesn't have the tank storage at their plants. So if you need that, there it is. And then also for those who participate in the binder index and use that, just be aware that there's really no effect for you as the end user. We just started changing the data we were using to populate that. And I put this in the presentation here because it's actually included in the binder RSP, but it's not necessarily binder related. We did make a few minor spec changes. So the first one is just a reminder that we now do allow category 4 mixtures to be used in lieu of a category 3, and that's for 401 mix. And then another clarification, really, we kind of were operating this way unofficially, but it did cause some confusion. So we just wanted to spell it out clearly that for each contract line item, in a calendar year, we will allow for that 300-ton exemption on startup. So basically, every year you get that 300-ton window per CLN. So again, I apologize. I'm trying to catch us up on time here, so I'm talking a little fast. So any questions, just feel free to catch me afterwards or later. So the other RSP I wanted to point out was the 410 RSP, SMA pavement. We combined the PG binder changes and a couple of other changes in there in the same RSP. So SMA, we're just going with 58E, no more. We did allow 76 or 70. We 99.9% of the time wanted 76, and sometimes 70 would get used and it caused confusion anyway. So that should be taken care of, so no more of that confusion. We did state that virgin stabilizer materials shall be used, and we made a change that we disallowed the use of shingles, recycled shingles in SMA. So the main intent of all these changes was that a stabilizer material is required to be added into the SMA. And I'll talk about that a little later as well. And then this is the last RSP I wanted to point out. We have our void reducing asphalt membrane, VRAM. There's one for HMA and one for SMA. So these are not changing for this year. So it'll be the same. That they'll be targeting our higher roadways, typically interstate or our major 4-lane divided highways. But the reason I'm talking about it right now is it just went to standards 12 days ago now, and 12 days ago now. And we worked with the industry, and we have, this won't take effect until construction next year, but VRAM will be used on all our category roadways. So not just category 4, but also category 2 and 3. And the reason it's pertinent to talk about this right now is there is a construction memo, 2413, came out very late last year. And really the whole, the reason all this was sparked off is for years, our pavement folks and pavement marking folks at INDOT have been talking at great lengths about whether the liquid asphalt sealant is affecting the pavement marking adhesion. So long story short is we came to an agreement to stop using liquid asphalt sealant immediately. So that started late last year. So the construction memo does instruct to stop using liquid asphalt sealant this year. And then essentially there'll be a year of a gap, and then until next year when contracts start having VRAM on the joints. So just be aware of that. And then this is that construction memo. The only thing I wanted to point out is it says to delete it from INDOT contracts, and it still says it's an option for the locals. So if you have a local project, they have the option to continue using the liquid asphalt sealant. All right, quickly, ITM updates. I actually didn't have any asphalt directly related to asphalt ITM changes. These were just two I noticed had changed recently in this last year. I'm not really over these, but I just wanted to bring it to light. There was an update to the 906 verifying mechanical shakers, and then there was an update to the inertial profiler ITM. So if those affect you, you might want to look at those a little closer. Same thing, INDOT directives. I didn't have too many changes this year. Again, Directive 105, I don't have direct oversight of this one, but I noticed it was changed, and so I just wanted to put it up here. So if any of that makes sense to you or affects you, you might want to take a closer look. And that just changed on January 7th, so I'm not really sure of the details on that one. And then Directive 305, that one I do have control over, and This goes back to what we were talking about with SMA. It basically is the mixed design requirements. It also states in there that virgin stabilizer material shall be added to SMA. So that is in there now. All right, audits. This is audits for 2024. Well, one of these does not look like the other. Obviously, with some of the personnel changes and stuff, I think Laporte has some catching up to do, but I'm sure he'll get on that. They're usually pretty solid with audits. But that's the total number of audits. We have 85 plants we audit yearly. 2024 looks like Crawfordsville won. So they got the most gigs. But we'll just see. We'll see for this year. We'll see who the winner is next time. But this is statewide. The common gigs that popped up. You know, just things to be aware of when the audit's coming to you to your plant. You know, not surprising. QCPs are outdated, or a AS team or ASHTO was updated. Some we can control. You know, stockpiles adequately spaced. Maybe a level 1 tech lost their qualifications and became certified. You know, maybe that stuff's outdated on the QCP. And then I guess the last one I'll point out here is the binder tanks not labeled. You know, that's kind of one way just to avoid the most basic of confusion at the plant. And then I think especially this year with the binder changes, that could be very important. So just be aware of those. So quickly, DMF entry. We'll get into the cloud-based programs here for a few minutes. No major updates for DMF entry scheduled. Same as last year, accepts HMA, OG, SMA, so all that gets put in there. The only thing I did want to point out is there is the option to select all the binder grades, so you might want to go ahead and select all the binder grades just in case any of those are needed in the future. If you have submitted a design already and it's been accepted and you need and one of these binder grades are missing, go ahead and email me. I can actually add those after the fact. I don't think the district has the ability to do that, but I can add those if needed. And then Paywizard, again, there's no updates. I think I've said this for 3 or 4 years now. We plan on incorporating SMA and OG in the future. It's what Matt was alluding to earlier. We're moving at glacier speed here on getting that incorporated. But as many of you know, we're finally seeing ASHTOware is about to be rolled out. That's been using a lot of bandwidth over the last few years. So I have seen a little bit of movement on this, just a little bit, but I think we're actually going to start maybe heading towards actually getting SMA and OG in Paywizard. And hopefully we can get away from using those workbooks and email. And then the only other real comment I had was just again to stress the importance of that R number, especially for the contractor. That number is needed to start the whole process in Paywizard. So having the right R number with that sample, and then that sample also being put into or created in Site Manager or ASHTOware with all the CLNs and everything. That's very important to get the process started. And then as well, for the INDOT folks in the room, it's important that those samples actually get to M&T in a timely manner. I think Seth mentioned that. When they're held on to in the trailer for weeks or months, it can create an issue. So just wanted to say that. And then I think I've said this for at least a year now, but just as a reminder, M&T, which when I say that, it's essentially me and Jason Galetka, or Jason Galetka and I, whatever the right way. Anyway, we're providing support for DMF entry and Paywizard, so might work if I go the right way. So, you know, if there's any issues, this happens a lot. You know, if a lot needs to be rolled back or whatever, or I've seen it, stuff gets stuck and we have no idea why. It just does. And there's things we can do to fix that. And also final sublot tonnage. We can update that so everything calculates correctly. And I'll say just real quick, if, you know, if there's like a lot 6 sublot 2 gets paved in April or May and we know it's not going to be, it's done, let's roll that back so the appeal window can start right away. I've seen some of these, the sublots paved early in the summer and we literally don't roll it back until October and then the appeal window starts. So you're literally getting an appeal sample or an appeal core 7 months later. You know, if there's any situation like that, let's get those, let me know, we can work on that, get that rolling, get that processed. So moving on, so we have those HMA Paywizard. Well, what that does is that allows us to have statewide data, something we didn't really have quick access to before. It's a little rudimentary right now, but we're getting more and more access to the data. And so I did want to point out for the INDOT folks in the room, on the intranet, the Aaron page, we have some HMA data views that might help processing materials. There's a fail material view, so anything that needs a pink sheet shows up on there. And then maybe anything, we also have a final tonnages view. So anything, you can tell whether the final tonnage has been updated or not. Again, this is always a fun slide. Since we changed to SuperPay 5 in 2019, we're consistently seeing a percent and a half added density. So, I mean, that's a win for everybody in the room. That was a good change. So it's still just fun to see that data continue to show that. And quickly, PWL, statewide pay factors, looks like we're hitting right above 1%, 100% pay. So that's a good thing. Single sublot acceptance, even better, we're hitting 102. So it looks like everything's on the right track with statewide pay factors. And I'm just going to skip these for the sake of time. So last thing I'll say is, I think I was saying it at all the presentations last year, you should have gotten an email in December about how to sign up for our new email list. You might have thought it was spam, but it did come through late December. And then I did use the new system with great difficulty. I got an email to send out earlier this year about mixed designs, HMA mixed designs. So if you didn't receive that or you want to sign up for the new email list and don't know how to do that, let me know. We can get you signed up on that. So I will stop talking unless there's any questions. Okay, yeah. So he was asking about advanced notification of plate samples. So long story short is it wasn't really appropriate to put in the spec book. So where it landed is it actually got published in the Jiffy. So there is a new addition to the Jiffy, General Instruction for Field Employees. That's actually on the website as well. You can probably Google it, it'd be faster to find it. But we did put a blurb in there that it's okay for INDOT to notify the contractor a little bit more in advance for safety reasons when those plate samples are happening. We did have an unfortunate incident last year, and so it gives guidance. I think it's, is it 5 trucks for surface? Okay, so for surface, about 5 trucks advance notice is okay. Base and intermediate, about 10 trucks. And really that's just so contractor, INDOT, sampling personnel, everybody knows it's coming, everybody can prep for it. And honestly, it's so nobody gets backed over. That's in the Jiffy. So good question. That actually, so if APAI talked about they have a published list of changes that happened, and so if you got their email from their monthly list or it's on their website, that is one reference to it. Otherwise, it is in the Jiffy under Section 13. So the question was, with the SMA fiber requirements, if there's no drain down, is that waived? Or if it's produced as WMA warm mix, is that waived? The short answer is no. That's actually what caused that to be put in the directive. There was, all along, we INDOT thought it was a requirement because it is stated in AASHTO 3, what is that, 3, whatever the SMA AASHTO is. I got too many numbers in my head. But we thought it was a requirement in the AASHTO, and I guess there was interpretation that maybe it wasn't needed if there was no drain down issues. But we do want that fiber in SMA since we are paying a premium for it, and we are expecting it to last longer than HMA. So good question.